everybody. I am so excited about our sponsor for this month, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It's the Gillette Home Team and Laura Gillette. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm doing wonderful.
That is so awesome. You know, the Gillette Home Team is doing so much in real estate. Give us a snapshot of what you're up to.
Awesome. Well, last year we were able to help 551 families either buy or sell real estate. We love our community. We love our clients. Our mission is to deliver the keys to home ownership through stellar customer service, integrity, and joy. And we're looking to help even more folks this year.
That is so awesome. You know, if you want a team that is there for you, it's the Gillette Home Team and Laura Gillette. And thanks so much, Laura, for your sponsorship. Good morning, everybody. Woo! Welcome to another episode of the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We are ready to go, right, Scott?
Oh my gosh. You know, it's going to be another beautiful spring day here. All the trees are popcorned out with those pink and white blossoms. It's a perfect photo op, but just like the experience, it doesn't last long. So take advantage.
You got to enjoy every moment of every day. You got to live your life, right? That's so good. Indeed. You know, and we are so blessed this morning. Speaking of living your life, and two wonderful people. We have Leib and Hallie Avolio down with us this morning. Two bundles of energy, wonderful ladies. I'm so thankful they agreed to come on today, and they've just become good friends over this past year. And so I appreciate them. We're going to actually start off with Annie this morning. We're just going to get started. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's just jump right in. All right. Here we go. Annie Leib.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good morning.
As I told you, I'm trying to be somewhat conscious of the fact that my children are on spring break and one is sleeping outside my office and she's going to start like throwing things at me, but I'm not going to whisper. This is my job. So
Annie, your children are welcome to be a part of the experience. So if you want to
Last night, my daughter opened my show. She was like trying to say this is Living with Anitude, but she didn't get it right. And it was a whole thing. So it was really funny. We had a good time. So she's used to my podcasting.
That was really good. Yeah. You know, I mean, really, when we're talking about the experience of life, they are your experience of life. I mean, they're experiencing it with you. Children are so wonderful. You know, I mean, I have, of course, a 30 and a 27-year-old now, but I'm still experiencing life with them, and it's wonderful.
One of my favorite things is to see life through their eyes, no matter what ages they are. I just feel like seeing life through a 9 and 11-year-old or 8 and 10 is just, I get to relive childhood. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Well, the really kind of the pure and the simple focus of children and the joy that they have growing up, you know, I mean, it's, you know, you think back to your childhood, it just was kind of a fun thing. There's a lot, I mean, not for everybody. I realize some people didn't have as good at childhoods, but to me, it was a fun thing. You know, kids are just simple and good.
Well, I tell my son that I'm still an 18-year-old boy. So he's a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate. And, but I tell him I'm still an 18-year-old boy. I've just added more layers, but I remember what it's like.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, Annie, hey, we are so thankful to have you on today. You have got so much going on. Let us know a little bit. Give us a snapshot into Annie's world.
So things have changed a tiny bit, Russ, since, I'm in the middle. I love when you do that.
That's right.
So a little bit, because I have recently really leaned into my own business. So Annie Leib LLC is my company. It was my business that I started to grow about a year ago. And it has been kind of snowballing into something bigger. And it morphed into this helping people, guiding people to get unstuck and walk in their core values and using their soul center every day. And it's been my journey being able to apply my journey and my healing process to others. And I picked up 1 or 2 clients, and then it started to grow and get more and more. And now I'm like trying to figure out what my next steps are. So it's been really fun to just sort of heal myself through all of my struggles and overcome this whole pandemic, and all of that in the past year has been transformative for me. And then just to lean into it and just really just say, you know what, this is my own thing. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it big.
Yeah, I think that is what's so incredible about you is you're such an authentic person, and you're leaning into your strengths in your life, and you connect so well with people. I mean, the first time you and I talked, it's like we've been friends forever. It's just, you are that kind of a person. And so I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that, that you feel that way.
Yeah. So with your business, when you're dealing with people, just give us a little snapshot about what is your business look like? I understand what you're trying to accomplish and all that you're doing, but give us a little more info on that.
So we start off with having I usually do like a complimentary 30-minute consultation, and we dig a little bit, but not too deep, but we get into some things that are holding people back. What are your stumbling blocks? What's sort of stopping you? What are you stuck in? And usually a lot of things really come out in that first conversation. There's something that, like, maybe my online presence or something on LinkedIn, I'm not sure, but all my business comes from LinkedIn and word of mouth. And it's been like, it seems like I'm pretty quickly trusted. So it feels like, we develop and build that relationship very quickly. And then we get into the next appointment. I do weekly consultations, as well as I do a monthly package. And we've been getting deeper and deeper as we dig in. And we talk about core values and walking from our, and living from our soul center, living authentically every day. Because Russ, and I mean, there's so many people that just don't live in their true self. And it's painful to not be your true self. I've been there. So I know what it's like to not be able to feel like you can live authentically and as your true self. And it's very painful and hard. Mm. And when you have somebody that's been through that can talk you through it, it can be really, really beneficial for going through your life in, a positive way.
It's so tough because we have so many expectations placed on us, yes. From family, friends, neighbors,
and we put on ourselves,
employers. Exactly. And often the things that we're looking for in those expectations are not what we want. And in many cases, they'll harm us. And so if we're able to understand that, I mean, I love the authenticity, right? Of course. And we know mindset. And as Jim Rohn says, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you go through your calendar, and this is the thing I do with clients too, is we go through and we do a calendar audit, because just as your checkbook is going to say where your values are, where you're spending your time, whether intentionally or unintentionally. In many cases, it's unintentional. So now what do you do? Well, talk to Annie.
Well, it's so funny that you hit on that. It's so interesting, because time management and valuing your time and having worth. I actually did a post this morning on a word that was resonating with me, because I had a conversation with somebody really close to me. We talked about words like authenticity and words like, courageous, things that are kind of thrown around, genuineness, but there's a word, I'll give it away. It's dignity. That not a lot of people use a lot of the time. It's not a word that's been oversaturated in the market, and it's about having honor and worth. And it was the first thing you think of is, do you think someone else has dignity? But really, do you have dignity? Do you feel that you are able to accept worth? Are you worthy of walking through life in your core values and aligning with them and speaking from your authentic self? And I think a lot of this is all rooted in self-worth issues.
Yeah,
almost every client I talk to, we go back to that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up dignity. I a number of years ago, I was working with an organization, and we were working with orphanages in Romania. And now they've changed the system. Back in those days, it was the institutionalized orphanage, and people. I remember we were over there, and a group of folks had put together a shipping container, and they filled it full of stuff. And they went over. So we got it out. We paid the bribes, got it out of Hawk, got it delivered to an orphanage. And when I opened it up, I was so deflated, because it was full of broken toys and worn out clothes and, basketballs that had holes in them. They wouldn't hold air. And I was just thinking, these poor children have already had everything taken away from them. Can you give them at least the dignity of giving them something new? Or just they can buy stuff, the people could buy stuff in Romania. So anyway, dignity is a huge thing.
Having worth and having self-value is so important.
Yeah. And speaking of worth, self-value, we want to bring in Hallie this morning to join us, who is also a really person of great value, positive, upbeat. And thank you, Hallie, for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you both for having me. Annie, I love that I get to share this screen stage with you. You're my favorite, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you both for having me.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, Hallie. You and I have been able to chat several times, and you always leave me feeling better, uplifted, and you always have such a your motivational moment every morning. I'm all about inspiration and motivation, and I love that every morning. I love to see what you're tapping into to motivate you and to motivate others, and I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your appreciation.
Well, hey, while we're appreciating, why don't you give us a little snapshot into Hallie's world this morning?
Sure. So my business is called Sassy Healthy Fit. And my mission is I really work primarily with women. And my mission is to empower women to live their very best life and create a life they love that is full of magic, empowerment, and really standing in their authentic power and teaching them the tools to be able to do so.
And here as we wind down International Women's Month, the last day of the month, I'm so happy that we've got you here on the show and able to talk about how you're giving women the tools, because in so many cases, our culture says the woman is the caregiver, and the expectations as we're talking with Annie is self-care is not justified in our minds. And yet, what's so important is making sure you're healthy.
Right. And if I could share one of my favorite quotes by Rumi, which is, never give from the depths of your well, but from your overflow. Mm-hmm. And I say this one often because it's so true. And this applies to men as well. This is not just available for women, but we have to remember that at the end of the day, we have to take care of who we are first. It's, that I kind of cringe a little bit at the analogy of the oxygen mask because it's so overused. However, the essence, and it goes back to what Annie talked about earlier, right? It goes back to, who are you authentically? What are your core values? How do you stand in your power? What does that mean? And how can you nurture yourself and mother yourself and nourish yourself so that you can show up in all the other ways in your life, whether that's in your profession, if you're an entrepreneur or an employee, whether that's in your personal relationships, whether that's your relationship as a parent, as a friend, right? So it spills over into all these parts of our lives. And yet we're not given permission or told this story that it's cool to put yourself first. It's like, oh, that's selfish.
No, don't do that.
That's egotistical. Don't go there. So I'm here to rewrite that story, change that narrative, and remind everyone, fill your cup. Do the things you need to do for you. And then you will have this beautiful overflow to give to everyone else. And it doesn't have to be this monumental, ashram retreat in India situation. My definition of self-care is what I call simple, sustainable, and fun. And if you are not practicing self-love and self-care in ways that are simple, sustainable, and fun, you're not doing it right. So it's not self-care Saturday or, I'm just going to do it at this one time. It's like every single day, find ways to align with your core values so that you are protecting and honoring and tapping into that energetic vibration within you to raise yourself, right?
Right. Well, I think the reason that the airline example is overused so much with the oxygen mask is because it's such a good one.
Totally.
It is so true. If you do not take care of yourself, how in the world are you going to take care of other people? Yeah. And I just think that is, that's something that I love about both of you, is that you're so giving. Your heart is to just really help people and to, point them to their authentic self, because that's a lot of times we're just not being us. We're just not really living the life we're meant to live. And that's the challenge, is we're trying to live somebody else's life.
Right.
You should live the life you choose. That's the phrase. I don't know. It sticks in my mind.
I heard that somewhere. I don't be befuddled. Live the life you choose. That book sticks with me too.
Okay, mine is. I'm going to bust out my Post-its. This is like my thing, right? My Post-its, because I love affirmations. So I don't know if we can, I'm going to cover up the not necessarily best language here, but it says, I am the creator of my own bleep life. So you can fill in the F blank, but you can take it out even. You
fabulous.
Can just say,
is that fabulous?
I am the creator of my own life. And if you tell yourself that mantra every single day and put it in front of you, I am the creator of my own life, right? It is so impactful, which is why I teach about affirmations. I teach about manifesting. I teach about positive self-talk. It can all go in the realm of NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. It has to do with, honoring yourself. If you're someone that's spiritually inclined, that's definitely kind of my preferred direction. But I love to tap into this, coming from a place of love and a place of guidance from spirit and universe. And, whatever that means to you, right? This isn't a religious idea. This is just, how can I show up in this world coming from a conscious place of love and leading with love and empathy and compassion? Because when you do that, then you truly are creating your own life that you love and that just makes you feel so good majority of the time. And on those days when you feel like crap, it's still okay, because you can come back to that place of love, empathy, and compassion.
Right. So we're quoting these great philosophers. So you got Rumi. I also want to quote another philosopher that I love, and that's Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes.
They're they're in the backyard and they're looking up at the sky, the night sky, and Calvin asks, he says, "Do you believe that the stars control our lives?" And Hobbes says, "No, I think that we're responsible for our own decisions and guide our own lives." And Calvin says, "I think life is much more fun when someone else is in charge."
Well, I think what is important is we were all created with choice. And like you're talking about, I mean, that's really, that was the premise of what I was thinking when I wrote my book too, is we are all created able to choose our life, able to live our authentic self, if that's what we want. And we do get beat down so much, and we get, misdirected by the world and all that. And Annie, you're always talking about that as well.
To your point, I was just going to say that I have compassion and I have a lot of empathy for most of us who, during the most developmental times in our lives, we were, shamed and blamed, and we carry that in our life. And we have to here's the beauty of it. Not only is it's beautiful that we've gone through it, because you become a more compassionate and empathic person when you've gone through your struggles, because you can understand authentically what others go through. But the beauty of it is we can rewire. That's the beauty of our brain. We can rewire. We can figure out how to do things differently. So someone that's listening right now and they're thinking, God, I'm so not where you guys are. Please know that this is a practice. Everything we're talking about is a daily practice. Right. This is not something that I wake up and feel, energized and psyched for every single day. I will tell you that there's a lot of that, but that's because of the work I've done. That's because of the work I do daily, whether it's gratitude, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditation, all the things, working on core values, aligning them, centering. These are things that we have to practice every day to get to this place where we can say, I'm living the life that I choose.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, so many people do not have a strong foundation. They don't have a purpose or a why for why they're moving forward. That's where they start to stumble, because things get a little crazy in life. And then where do they go? And, some of us, like you brought up, Hallie, have a spiritual faith foundation. But whatever your foundation is, you've got to build on that. You've got to have a purpose for why you're moving forward. Right, Hallie?
Absolutely. It's all about, your why. I think that sometimes also gets a little cliche, right? But asking yourself, here are the 3 questions that I encourage and invite everyone to ask themselves is, who am I? What do I want? And what is my purpose? And you might not have the answers right now, and that is 100% okay. But I want you to start asking yourself these questions daily. Who am I? What do I want? And what is my purpose? And the more you allow yourself to have that introspective time to ask yourself those questions and honor the answers, the more you will become intuitive and understand who are you in your core and what does that mean and how do you show up in all parts of your life. So that's really the essence of all of this is taking the time for you. That's what I'm talking about, this simple, sustainable, and fun self-care. Annie talked about gratitude and journaling. So I spend about an hour every morning meditating, reading for personal development or business, writing in my journal. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Instagram. I'm doing these things to nourish and nurture myself, to get deeper with those questions. Because even though I've asked them of myself hundreds of times, I still don't have all the answers. And I still want to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper, because the deeper I go, the more that I'm able to be real and be in that authentic space, create the life I love, and teach others how to do the same. So it is a practice. And you have to, the thing that you just have to remember is you just have to be committed to you, right? When you're committed to you, it becomes that much more enjoyable of a process as well.
So that when you have that deep understanding of your purpose and meaning, when the superfluous items around you change, and there could be a pandemic that takes away things that we consider to be our identity, if you understand that deep meaning and purpose, then you can continue on. You can find the new ways, the new paths. And the story I like to share about that is about Muhammad Ali. So we understand world champion, boxer, pacifist, and he's stripped of his title. But when he was a boy, he was encouraged to get into boxing. He was very successful, of course, won an Olympic gold medal. At that point, his life could have been over. In so many cases, people achieve this kind of platform goal, and then there's nothing to look forward to. But he continued on, and then he won a world boxing championship. He converted to Islam, and because we often remember that he was stripped of his title and his license to fight. He was stripped of that license, not because of his being a pacifist, but because he converted to Islam. That's why they took his title away from him, and basically took away his ability to earn income. And yet his life wasn't over, because his purpose was about equality and justice. And so for the next 10 years, he continued to talk about that on college campuses. Even though the pandemic hit, it didn't stop him from understanding what his deeper purpose and meaning was.
It didn't take away from who he was as a person. It didn't strip him of his dignity. He still was who he was.
Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to when a pandemic hits, as you said. And that's what I learned in the past year about myself, and why I can help so many people and guide them now, is because I learned how to step into that authentic self and align with my core values and be in my soul center. And I think a lot of people are either not at all centered, or they're just heart centered, which is important. But living in your soul center is completely different. When you do the work, you can act and live in your soul center, and it's just a completely different experience.
Well, and like you said, Annie, it is a daily thing. It's a daily choice, a daily centering, a daily time, like Hallie, meditation and journaling, whatever you do in the morning to get yourself going. It's a daily job not a job, but it's a daily choice that we make every day. We've got to do it. And I think that's where people think it's just like, oh yeah, I choose everything to be great. And then it's not. And then what do they do? Instead, it's deciding daily to live your authentic life and to move forward.
Yeah.
Wow. Our group, nobody had anything to say.
I thought Hallie was going to say something. I think she wanted to say something.
I was processing. So I wanted to just share, earlier this morning in my sisterhood, one of my ladies made a comment that she's been going through a lot lately. And she was talking about how, even though she's going through a painful emotional time right now, and she's kind of digging through and working through a lot of these things that we're talking about, right? Discovering who am I, understanding what her purpose is. She knows that she's guided by her highest self, right? The highest version of herself is guiding her through her darkness, through her shadows, through her past. And I love this work that I get the opportunity to do with my clients, because when you understand that whatever happens to you, whether it's in your past, whether it happens right now, it doesn't have to define you, right? It is part of your story and it is part of your tapestry, but it doesn't have to define you. So by understanding that when it comes down to what is your higher purpose, like the story you told with Muhammad Ali, right? Equality, compassion, justice, right? These are his guiding principles. And it's not about whatever happened to him in the past. It's about how can I work through what I experienced and then guide into the future, right? So being present and taking that information, working through what we're working through and leveraging it to become your highest self.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. We, believe it or not, are already winding down on our time. And I want to give both of you time because people are going to want to talk to you more, look into all that you're doing. So how do they contact you? Let's start with Annie.
So the best place to find me right now is probably LinkedIn. So Annie Leib, Leib. And also I have a website that's actually, we're just getting it really updated, annieleib.com. But reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn. And also I just want to make one quick comment. There's not that many people, if any, that I respect more than that girl, Hallie, right there in that box at the bottom. I love you, respect you, care for you, and I admire you. And I look to you as motivation daily. And I just want you to know that, like, there's like mad love here, mad love.
Well, that's so good. Well, we'll just jump right to Hallie then.
Well, that is very, very mutual. And Annie and I have never met yet in person like this, but not like in the same physical space. So someday when it's on, it's going to be a massive love fest, girl party. It's going to be awesome. We're never going to want to separate. So I love you all the same. And from my soul. Let's see, there's so many ways you can connect with me, but I would love to have a conversation. So if anyone's interested, hop over to my website, sassyhealthy.fit, hit the subscribe, and you can be on my email list. I'm also on LinkedIn, Hallie Avolio. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the places, Sassy Healthy Fit. And I welcome DMs, emails, comments, whatever. I would love to connect. That is my sole purpose, is to connect with humans and to help guide you to be your best self. So however you can find me, I'm very available. Please reach out.
Well, that's awesome. And what I've really appreciated this last year plus with the wonderful online community is just modeled in the two of you. And that is people loving and helping each other and just really having respect and just wanting to add value and help people, not the competition thing and trying to tear other people down to make yourself better. Really, and a lot of what's happened this past year has dissolved away. People have loved each other, helped each other, especially in this wonderful online community. So I appreciate you both.
We appreciate
you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks both for coming on. We're going to send you out to the green room here in just a second. But before we do, want to remind you at 8 a.m. this morning, we have the after party on Clubhouse, the experience after party for about a half hour on Clubhouse. Kind of fun. Going to continue the conversation. So anybody that wants to join in on that, or if you guys get the word out that we're going to be on there, jump on Clubhouse. That would be fun. That's kind of a new platform we're trying out. And thank you so much, both of you again, and look forward to continuing to grow and learn from both of you and continuing this friendship. I appreciate you.
Thank you
so much.
So exciting to see you again, Hallie. I told you I've got family down in the Central California coast, and when I get down there, I'm going to be
please.
You. Yes,
please do. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be the fun part when we can actually get places and see people live. So
yes.
Okay, see you guys in just a minute. Okay. All right, Scott.
30 minutes always goes so fast.
Oh, it does. It does. But it's so much fun. And we're so blessed. We're so blessed with such great people that are willing to come on and chat with us, share the value that they have and all that they've got going on. I learn so much every time.
It's just when you get to surround yourself with great people like Hallie and Annie, and as Jim Rohn says, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm fortunate that I get to spend time with you, an inspiration specialist, and it absolutely enhances my life. I am grateful for what we have here, and surrounded by remarkable people who choose to live a life that makes a difference.
There you go. Making a difference. We can all do it. And Scott, I do appreciate you so much. You're such an awesome friend. And listen, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in again for another episode of The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We appreciate all of you. Please share this with your friends. Please. It'll also stay on the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, after this today. Plus, we'll have a cut down version on LinkedIn. And we're still talking to LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn, so we can get our LinkedIn live.
Yes.
So we're hoping for that soon. But anyway, until then, we have a version on there. So thank you so much. Don't forget that it's every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, and on Clubhouse at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. And after every episode, we'll see you for some after chat and the after party at Clubhouse.
Enjoy the experience.
See you guys. Bye-bye.